Hey everyone, and welcome. So today we're going to demystify our really powerful framework, one that's super important for anyone who's planning to work in a classroom. It's called the class tool. We're going to break down what it is, how it actually works, and honestly why it's such a big deal for understanding what makes a classroom environment truly effective.
All right, so let's get right into it. We've all been in a classroom that just works. You can feel it, right? There's this energy, this connection. But here's the million-dollar question for educators and researchers. How do you take that feeling and measure it in a way that's objective and consistent?
And that really is the heart of the matter, isn't it? How do you measure the magic? We're not talking about things you can easily count, like test scores or how many books are on the shelf. We're talking about those thousands of tiny, in-the-moment interactions between a teacher and their students, because that's what really shapes the learning experience.
Well, that's exactly where the classroom assessment scoring system, or, CLASS for short, comes into play. The best way to think about it is like a special research-backed lens. It gives us a structured, consistent way to actually see, measure, and understand just how effective those crucial teacher-student interactions really are. Now, here's a key thing you've got to understand. CLASS doesn't just spit out a single grade that says good classroom or bad classroom. No, it's way more nuanced than that. It's actually built around three core areas, or domains, and you can think of these as the three main pillars holding up a high-quality classroom. And here they are, the whole framework in one shot. Those three pillars are emotional support, classroom organization, and instructional support. As you can see, each one is then broken down into even more specific parts called dimensions. For the next few minutes, we're going to walk through each one of these pillars so you know exactly what they mean. So let's start with that first pillar, emotional support. And honestly, this is the absolute foundation for everything else. It's all about the overall feeling of the classroom, that social and emotional atmosphere that makes kids feel safe, respected, and genuinely ready to learn. This quote from the class manual just nails it. A strong, positive climate isn't just about making sure nothing bad happens. It's about the presence of good things, of warmth, enthusiasm, and mutual respect. It's about creating that secure home base where students feel confident enough to take chances and really engage. And this is where CLASS gets really practical. It takes a big idea like positive climate and makes it something you can actually see and measure. An observer isn't just going on a gut feeling. They're trained to look for real, observable behaviors. They're literally asking, do I see smiling and laughter? Is the teacher's voice warm? Are kids helping each other out? These are the real data points. Okay, on to our second pillar, classroom organization. If emotional support is the foundation, you can think of classroom organization as the walls and the roof. It's the structure that keeps everything running smoothly so that learning can actually happen. I love this description because a well-oiled machine sounds so efficient. And it doesn't mean the classroom is rigid or boring. It just means that the routines and expectations are so clear that almost no time gets wasted on confusion or disruptions. That way, all the energy can go towards the actual learning. And if we look at behavior management, one of the key dimensions here, the big idea is being proactive. It's not about just reacting when a kid misbehaves. It's about setting clear expectations, anticipating where problems might pop up, and using quick, subtle redirections to keep kids on track. It's about preventing fires instead of just putting them out. And that leads us right into our third and final pillar, instructional support. With this one, the focus shifts to the how of teaching. We're looking at the specific strategies teachers use to stretch students' thinking and help them build a much deeper understanding of concepts. This quote gets right to the point. Instructional support is all about pushing past basic memorization. It's the difference between asking a student, what is this, and asking them, how do you know that, or what do you think will happen next? It's about getting those gears turning in their brains. So what's an observer actually looking for here? Well, they're listening for those higher-level interactions. They're checking to see if the teacher is asking a lot of why and how questions. Are students brainstorming together? Is the teacher helping them connect what they're learning in school to their real life? These are the techniques that build real critical thinkers. Okay, so now we know about the three big domains. But you might be wondering, how does an observer take everything they see and hear and turn it into something useful? Let's take a quick look at how the CLASS tool is actually put into practice. So this is a simplified look at the scoring sheet. After watching the classroom, a trained observer scores each of these dimensions, like positive climate or concept development, on a 7-point scale. It's pretty straightforward. A 1 or a 2 is considered in the low range, while a 6 or 7 is in the high range, based on all those little behaviors they saw.
And this whole thing is a really systematic process. The observer will watch for about 20 minutes, and then they'll take about 10 minutes to score everything they just saw. They repeat that cycle multiple times during the day. Why? Because that gives you a much more reliable and complete picture of the classroom, not just a random snapshot of one good or bad moment.
And this is so important to get. The final result is not a simple grade. It's not a pass or fail. It's a detailed profile that shows exactly where a teacher's interactions are really shining, and it also pinpoints specific, concrete areas where there's room for professional growth.
Seriously, if you remember just one thing from all this, let it be this right here. Class is not a gotcha tool. It was never designed to judge or punish teachers. It is, first and foremost, a tool for professional development. It's meant to give educators objective, helpful feedback so they can reflect on their practice and get even better.
So I'll leave you with a final thought to take with you. Now that you have this framework in your head, emotional support, classroom organization, and instructional support, what's one specific kind of interaction you're going to make a point to really focus on when you have a classroom of your own? It's definitely something to think about.